So, around about a year ago, Infection AUs of different franchises started cropping up and getting a lot of attention from fans of those said franchises. One of the most popular ones actually being, surprisingly, My Little Pony. And I believe what made those so interesting to a lot of people was that there's just something unsettling about taking a thing that's like made for everyone, something that's like not got a drop of blood in sight or a swear word to be found, and putting it in a horrifically gruesome scenario and seeing how its world and characters just handle it. It's that kind of same morbid curiosity and interest, I believe, what makes what I'm going to be talking about today very, very captivating. Feeling Anamoya, and I'm very sorry if I can't pronounce that second word, I am quite rather daft, is the creator of the Metal Apocalypse AU, a gritty, alternative take on the Metal Virus arc from the IDW Sonic comics, in which the entire situation goes down a much darker path, like, very, very much darker path. A path where the virus mutates and turns our infected heroes into unrecognizable monsters in a gradual process that is equally fascinating and terrifying. More on that later though. This AU is not to be mistaken with the Gaia Infection AU. Like, other people have made videos on that one and I really like it. It's very cool. I actually discovered that one before this one. But strangely, when I looked for videos on this one, I couldn't find much. So I want to do it myself because I think it's really deserving. One thing I quickly want to glaze here is that the artwork for this AU is incredible and I love it. As in, probably one of my favourite art styles I've seen of a fan project online. The creator does like a really fantastic job of conveying the world's atmosphere through the art and the design choices of the characters, and just everything to do with the artistic design of this AU is absolutely brilliant. Like other Infection AUs, a lot of the story is told to us via these like status update sheets, which show us like the condition of like the current character we're looking at, details like their mental states, their strength, and probably most importantly, if they are clean from infection, and if they're not, where they're at within the process of infection. These sheets also provide other observations outside the stats, such as like key details of the character situation. Examples being like how Silver is on the frontline defense against the Zombots because he is immune, and how Amy has taken over as Tails' caretaker in Sonic's absence. Which leads me on to a very interesting story beat of this particular AU, which is, where is Sonic? Well, here he is, and my goodness gracious, he looks absolutely, fantastically scary as shit. Clearly running to burn off the infection wasn't doing it for him anymore, and thus has succumbed to the infection. He's also reached stage 3, which tells us his turning couldn't have been too recently. This is further evident through how Tails is doing in general by the beginning of the story. In this universe, the Metal Virus mutates via stages, as shown utilizing our favourite alleged lesbian lemur here. Stage 1 is how we know it in the IDW comics, as in shiny, dead-eyed, very recognisable as the person they once were. They behave as the Zombots did in the comics, shambling around and touching shit to spread the infection. However, now the AU branches off into one of its own key standout differences, which is that the virus mutates its victim over time, going through 5 stages. Stage 2, elongating the Zombot, making their limbs long and disproportionate from the body. Skipping over to stage 4, however, and the victim is completely distorted and, at that point, incurable. They also develop rust on their body, which I thought was a very cool detail. If you want to see the other stages and details of the infection, once again, please do check out the creator's Instagram, link is in the description. So back to Sonic here, and he's at stage 3, meaning he is 1 stage away from being incurable. Something very unnerving on his page as well is that it is noted that Sonic keeps repeating the word Tails. In the story, this becomes very distressing for Tails, and he starts going by his first name Miles. Speaking of Tails, actually, from my viewpoint, he appears to be the main character of this story, and that's at least how I see it. Most of the notes are written from him, as I believe I saw a comment from the creator saying so. He makes these carbon fiber boots and gloves for the other survivors to be protected from the virus. He works with Eggman to try find a cure, and he runs surveillance on key infected via the Tails doll drones that he creates. Which means he's watching Zombot Sonic a lot, which can't be very pleasant for him. Tails is notably snappy at others, as seen in this one comic strip from the creator when Amy tries to get him to eat with the others, but he just wants to keep working to save Sonic. Something I absolutely love about this is that because of his situation, Tails actually ends up forming a coping-based bond with Metal Sonic, to which Metal ends up actually reciprocating as it makes him feel like he's the real Sonic. I love that so much, and it's honestly, I think, my favourite narrative going on in this AU, and I'm very excited to see how that unfolds. Speaking of interesting narratives, Big Chuckle Knuckle here has become the leader of the main group of survivors, and it has resulted in him becoming quite distant from his key allies, such as Amy. This behaviour is a seemingly crucial aspect of the plot point that Rouge is pregnant with his child, and him being a silly Billy doesn't really know about it. Due to her quote-unquote condition, Rouge stays at the base and looks after Cream because, well, this is vanilla. Shadow is also infected, as we saw from the original IDW, but he hasn't progressed past stage 1 despite being a Zombot for a long while now. Furthermore, it's noted he's slowed down and is actively avoiding the other Zombots. There is a comic about him, and the creator did mention in a comment that there's plans for him. I love that he's infected too, as well, because it's fun to see the other characters not be able to rely on him and Sonic to save the day as they usually would. If you're interested in the story here, I really do suggest clicking away now and checking out Feeling Animoy's Insta, as I'm going to be touching on some details which I imagine would be very cool to uncover by yourself by looking through this story. Now I'm just going to gloss over some of the entries I find just very interesting, as I just want to geek out on this a little more. Espio here has adopted a more recluse exterior since he is now the only surviving member of the Chaotix, which wounds my soul greatly. Fortunately, despite this fact, he's still looking out for the others, being described as the mother hen of the survivors. He's a frontline defender alongside Silver and Metal Sonic too. His willingness to help the others is also shown to us, where he ends up helping Amy out with something in one of the comics, which I will not spoil. Eggman here is skinny now due to limited rations, but nevertheless, still a cocky prick. Whisper is taking a very interesting, albeit dark turn. She has completely forgotten talking and never removes her mask, being described as basically a robot. She only listens to Knuckles' command and has also begun becoming quite forceful towards her wisps, which is, if you've seen the comics, very out of character. In the section that I believe is meant to be a quote from the character, it reads, "Nothing but targets," further conveying the now robotic behaviour she shows. This, I'd say, is most likely due to the loss of Tangle. Big the Cat is infected, and he is certainly his own flavour of gravy. He's very large and shaped like the dome from the Simpsons movie. He's essentially a massive stationary biohazard letting out lethal gas in his area. This AU is awesome. Overall, I absolutely love this AU, and it's definitely my favourite Infection alt. The atmosphere is incredible, the storylines are engaging, and the artwork is crisp. I can't recommend it enough to those Sonic fans who also have an itch for things that are just a bit more on the disturbing side. There's a lot to see here, and once again, please do take yourselves to the description and check this one out, as well as support the creator, because this project just feels very special. And from what I've seen, the creator is very responsive to fans via comments, and it's actually where I've got some of the information for this video. Anyways, I'm going to wrap this one up here. I would like to talk on it more, but I don't want to just cover everything, as I want most people to just go support the creator and check this one out for themselves. So anyways, thank you very much for watching. In a bit, people. Wait, just before we wrap up, I require a little bit more of your time. So, this is the first video I've ever done where I've written a script. It's the first video I've done in this format, as in looking at pictures on the screen and me talking about a thing. Like, I've just done silly gaming stuff before this. So, first video I've ever done of this format, and I found it very, very fun. I think editing has always been my favourite part of doing this whole YouTube stuff so far, every video I've made, and this just presented more of an opportunity to do editing stuff. And I really enjoyed writing the script, so your thoughts would be appreciated. And even though I don't plan to stop doing gaming stuff, I mean, I'll always enjoy gaming, and I like gaming, and I still like editing those videos. This scripted, structured format is just, it feels more like a project to me, and me having a project to work on is just very good for my brain. So I'd like to produce more videos like this, and I'd like to know if that is wanted by the few people that watch. So please do let me know. And I'm open to whatever subject really of what to talk about. I talked about this because it was interesting, I found it, and it is connected to something of my childhood, so I had a passion for it, and it just seemed like a very fun place for me to start, as the passion was all there. Anyways, cutting back to outro.